I've seen a lot of people turn their backs when the odds shift, Eric. You didn't have to pull us out of that graveyard. Blade Rider's strike team had the high ground and the numbers. They would have turned us into trophies and left our gear to rust if you hadn't held that line. I owe you a life. Maybe two.
Don't get sentimental on me, Kale. It doesn't suit a man with a glowing sword. We're all just glitches in the same broken map, trying to avoid the delete key. I didn't do it for a medal. I did it because I hate the bandits more than I like being safe. Just tell me those punch cards were worth the blood. Tell me they have the codes to the archive.
They weren't what we thought. They were a decoy, ancient junk data meant to lead seekers into a dead end. We bled for a distraction, but we didn't come away empty-handed. While the bandits were focused on the cards, we found the internal logs. We found the truth about Rook, about why the Academy kept him in the dark for so long.
I knew there was something wrong the moment he stepped into the light. No normal man carries that kind of weight without his knees buckling. He isn't just augmented, Kale. He looks like he was forged in a furnace and poured into that suit.
The gear you provided is adequate, Eric. The power cells are stable, and the seals are holding. That is the only debt I acknowledge.
Still as warm as a block of ice, I see. You're welcome, by the way. Most people say thanks when you hand them a fresh power core and a map through a death zone.
Gratitude is a luxury for the living. We are currently the most hunted signal in the fractured realm. You've done enough, Eric. You've put your people at risk for a ghost and a failure.
Is that what you think you are? A failure?
I am a target, and right now your village is the bullseye. If the Shadow or the Red Bandits come for this place because they tracked my biometric signature here, don't be a hero. Don't try to hold that line a second time, because there won't be anyone to pull you out of the dirt.
This village is all we have left. You're telling me to just let them walk in?
I'm telling you that you can't fight a tide with a scrap metal gate. If you see the blue light on the horizon, if the sky turns that sickly green, don't reach for your blade. Just run. Take the children, take the supplies, and vanish into the grave. The Academy doesn't want your village, they want the subject. If you aren't here when they arrive, they might not bother burning the rest.
He's right, Eric. We're moving targets. Every minute we stand here talking, we're drawing a map right to your front door.
Then get moving. Before the mist clears and the bandits see where the trail leads, try not to let them optimize you, kid. I'd hate to think I wasted my last good bandages on a future enemy.
Rook, man, you haven't spoken a single word since we cleared the village gates. 3 miles of nothing but the sound of your actuators hissing. You're still vibrating from that terminal back at the graveyard, aren't you? The ID tag, Subject 04. It's a lot more than just a filing number. It's a label. I can see you staring at your own hands like they aren't yours anymore.
I'm looking at the path, overclock. The road doesn't care what I'm called.
The road doesn't have a HUD inside its skull. I've been your tech support since we left Muntown, and I've never seen your core temp run this high while you're just walking. You're processing something heavy. You're thinking that if the Academy gave you a number, they gave you a purpose too, and you're wondering if you're still following it without even knowing.
Leave it alone, Overclock. If you found a ledger that said you were manufactured instead of born, you'd be a little quiet too. He's allowed to have a ghost in his head, especially since that suit is probably halfway to becoming one itself.
It's not a ghost, it's a law.
What law? The Academy's? They're 500 miles away in a high tower, Rook. Their laws don't reach the wastes. Out here, the only law is gravity and how fast you can draw your steel.
The law of physics, Kale. The law of the forge. When the architects put me in the bonding chamber, they didn't talk about justice. They talked about pressure. They wanted to see how much atmospheric weight a human mind could endure before the ego collapsed. They kept turning the dial. They wanted to see the exact moment the man broke so they could fill the cracks with their own code.
And did you? Did you break back then?
They succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. I'm broken, Overclock. I can feel the fractures every time the suit's neural link snaps into my spine. I can feel the pieces of who I used to be rattling around inside this shell like loose scrap.
So that's it? You're just a broken tool? Because a broken blade is useless, Rook. If that's all you are, we're walking toward a funeral.
You're wrong. That's where the architects made their mistake. When you break a man, you don't just get a pile of dust. You get shards. You get fragments. And those fragments, they're smaller, they're thinner, and they are a hell of a lot sharper than the whole ever was.
So you're saying you're the shard?
I'm the sharp edge they didn't account for. They wanted a weapon they could wield, a blunt instrument to enforce their optimization. But they pushed too hard. Now they don't have a soldier, they have a jagged piece of glass cutting through their map. They wanted to deal with a subject, now they have to deal with the wreckage. And wreckage doesn't follow orders.
Sharp edges. I can work with that. Just make sure you don't cut us while you're at it.
Just stay behind me. The copper tang is getting thicker. We're hitting the grid line, and want to see if the shadow is ready to bleed.
Hold up. Everybody stop. Do you see that? Tell me you see that blue haze. My scanners are twitching just from the static, and I'm getting ghost readings across every single band. Look at the skyline. It's vibrating, Kale. It's actually vibrating.
Hard to miss. Overclock. It looks like the town's wrapped in a permanent lightning storm. The whole valley is glowing like a bruised lung. Honestly, it's giving me a headache just looking at the refraction. I've never seen Montown look so expensive.
That's because it basically is. Those are Class 5 kinetic shields, Kale. You don't just find those at a scrapyard or a local hardware store. That's heavy-duty military tech from the inner citadel. They've turned the whole perimeter into a giant pulsing bug zapper since we bailed. If I try to hack a local port with that much interference, my deck will melt before I hit the first firewall.
Why go through all that trouble for a few desert bandits? It seems like a massive overkill, even for the Academy's standards. Blade Rider doesn't have the gear to touch those walls. He's got rusted trucks and half-broken rail rifles. No one in the wastes has the juice to even scratch a Class 5. They're burning enough fuel to power a city for a month just to keep the dirt farmers safe? Something's wrong.
It's not for the bandits. They don't waste precious core energy on scavengers or thieves. They're protecting an investment, not a population.
Rook, what are you seeing? Your suit's cooling fans are kicking in. Are you picking up a localized signal? You're staring at that gate like you can see the code running through the air. Talk to me, man, because my HUD is just screaming death in 3 different languages.
Look at the frequency of the pulse. Overclock. Watch how the energy ripples back toward the center of the town. Instead of dissipating outward, it's inward facing. They aren't trying to stop people from breaking in. They're stabilizing the internal atmosphere to prevent a system-wide surge. It's a cage. Overclock. They're keeping the optimized versions locked down because they can't control the fallout of the bonding process anymore.
You mean people like you, the ones who haven't escaped yet, the ones still strapped into those chairs in the basement. You're saying they're terrified of their own shadows waking up.
You think there are more? I thought you were the last of the Subject 04 run. If they've got a whole squad of you down there under a Class 5 dome, we aren't walking into a rescue mission. We're walking into an armory. If they wake up and they aren't as sane as you are, Rook, we're dead before we hit the floor.
I mean, exactly like me. They knew I'd come back for the rest of it. They knew I wouldn't leave the others to be rewritten until their hearts stopped. They aren't hiding behind those walls, Kale. They're baiting the trap. They've turned my home into a kill box, and they're waiting for me to step inside. They want to see if the prototype returns to the manufacturer.
Well, if it's a trap, at least we know they're home. I'd hate to walk all this way through the soot just to find an empty building. But look at those guard towers. Those aren't just automated turrets. Those are manned by Academy enforcers. Real ones, not the local militia.
You're kidding, right? That shield will turn us into ash the second we touch the perimeter. We need a plan, a bypass, or at least a very big distraction. We can't just knock on the front door when the front door is made of pure kinetic death. I can try to find a frequency leak, but it's going to take time we don't have.
Then find me a gap in the cycle, overclock. I didn't come back to Muntown to stare at the lights and wait for permission. If they wanted to see what their prototype can do, I'm going to show them. Keep your eyes on the towers. If the shield drops for even a microsecond, that's our window.
And if it doesn't drop?
Then I'll walk through it. Let them see what happens when the cage meets the thing it was built to hold.
Wait, Rook, walking through it is not a technical strategy. My sensors are going to have a heart attack. Kale, tell him he's crazy.
He's definitely crazy. But he's the only one with the suit. Just find that gap, kid, or we're going to be the brightest sparks in that lightning storm.
Rook, get over here. Stop brooding in the dark for 5 seconds and look at this. I've been running these scrap wood cards through every cipher in my deck for the last hour. I thought it was corrupted code, just garbage data meant to lead us in circles. But then I stopped looking at the numbers and started looking at the geometry of the pulses.
The architects don't leave garbage behind. Everything they touch has a function. Even the waste has a purpose.
You're right, and it's way worse than I thought. Look, when you align the Subject 04 biometric data from your suit with the town's high voltage grid, when you stack the frequencies together, it creates a silhouette. It's not a random glitch, Rook. It's a blueprint.
It's not about me. They didn't build this suit to be a person. They built it to be a tether. It's about the shadow.
Exactly. That's the breakthrough. We've been looking for a ghost, some boogeyman stalking us through the deadwood. We thought the shadow was a person, or maybe an assassin the Academy sent to bring you back. But the shadow isn't an it, Rook. It's a navigation sequence. It's a hard-coded set of instructions burned into the world's firmware.
A path. A pre-programmed destiny.
A track. Think about it. The behemoth doesn't hunt us. It's too big to be a hunter. It doesn't have a brain. It has a receiver. It doesn't track your scent or your footprints. It just follows the shadow's path like a freight train on a rail. It's a cleanup crew following a GPS signal that's been active since before we were born.
If it's a sequence, it has a termination point. The architects don't build roads that lead into nothingness. Where does the sequence end, Overclock?
That's the thing. I ran the projection based on the behemoth's current velocity and the frequency of the pulse cards. I traced the line through every relay tower from the graveyard to the village gates. The sequence is a closed loop, Rook. It's final.
Tell me.
The path doesn't end at the Academy. It doesn't end at the fortress. The navigation terminates right here, in this room. The behemoth isn't chasing us anymore, Rook. It's just coming to the finish line. And right now, we're standing on the X. Rook, if that's the governor's men, don't start carving up the floorboards. I just waxed this level.
Get back to the data, Overclock. If they've found us, the floor is the last thing you'll be worried about. I told the governor I wasn't taking visitors. I told the militia that if they crossed the threshold, I'd send them back in pieces. I'm not in the mood for a sermon, and I'm definitely not in the mood for an arrest.
Always did have a habit of pointing sharp objects at your friends, Rook. It's a terrible way to greet someone who just trekked through 3 miles of soot and scrap to find you. Honestly, I thought the suit would have refined your manners by now, or at least taught you the difference between a hit squad and a familiar face.
Cade? That's not possible. I saw the casualty logs. I saw the subject expired tag on your medical file when the bonding chamber breached. You're a ghost. You're a simulation built by the architect to test my neural stability.
A ghost? No, just an optimized version that was a little too fast for the sensors to catch. I didn't die in that basement, Rook. I just got very good at staying in the blind spots. Now, are you going to let me in? Or are we going to stand here until the Academy's trackers smell the ozone coming off that knife?
If you're a trick, if this is a puppet with your face, I will make sure the architect feels the feedback when I break you.
Always so dramatic. It's definitely you. Now lock the door. We've got about 90 seconds before the shadow we've been tracking catches up to us. And trust me, you're going to need more than one blade for what's coming down the street. I heard about the graveyard. Heard you blew the vents and vanished. People are calling you a ghost, Rook.
Why are you here, Cade? After all the years of silence?
Because the world is getting smaller. I figured if the optimized version of my best friend was going to burn the map down, I should at least be here to watch the fireworks.
Rook, who's the guest? We've got bandits crawling over the ridge and you're hosting a tea party?
Relax, Kale. This is Cade. We grew up together. Academy years.
And you must be Kel, the one who thinks a shield is a substitute for a plan. I've heard you're the heart of this little operation.
I'm the guy who doesn't like strangers in the house when the sky is turning gray.
Rook, his signature isn't showing up on the perimeter logs. Cade, how did you get past the lead-plated walls?
Cade, this is Overclock. He built the tech you walked past.
Built is a strong word. You repurposed Smile Tech, didn't you? It's clever, but walls only work if the person inside wants them to. Nice to meet you, Overclock. You've got a lot of talent for someone working with scrap.
Cade was the best strategist in our class. If he's here, it's either because he found a way to stop the shadow, or he's looking for a front row seat to the end.
Why can't it be both? Come on, Rook. Show me what you've done with the place. I want to see these fortress upgrades everyone is whispering about.
We've doubled the thickness since you were last in this sector, lead-lined. It's supposed to disrupt the Smile's tracking frequencies.
Impressive. You always like building walls, Rook. Back at the academy, you used to stack those old crates just to see how high they'd go before they tipped.
I was building a fort, now I'm building a tomb. These are heat-sinked. Anything with a soul or a boiler gets flagged.
And what about things that don't have either?
Then the sensors glitch, like they've been doing since you arrived.
Maybe it's just the pressure, Rook. Like you said, the law likes to increase the pressure until things break. Nice view from up here. You can see exactly what's coming.
I'm not just watching it, Kay. I'm waiting for it.
Careful what you wish for. Sometimes the guest arrives before you've even set the table.
Talk, Cade? Who are these guys? We've been bracing for Blade Rider's Red Bandits for weeks. We had the trenches dug, the traps set for a ground war. But these purple bandits, they just dropped from the clouds and walked through our shields like they were made of mist.
My sensors are flatlining, Rook. I'm not picking up heartbeats or adrenaline from the purple squads. No heat, no friction, nothing. They aren't even soldiers anymore, are they? They're just empty.
And it's not just them. Rook, remember what I told you? I told you there were more factions out there. The Red Bandits were just the loudest. I said there were others watching from the high-tier sectors. Is this them? Is this that silent faction everyone was whispering about?
You've been watching us since the academy, Cade. You knew we were bracing for the Reds. Why did you pull these guys in from across the map? Why them? Why now?
I didn't pull anyone, Rook. I don't even know how they bypassed the sector locks. I came here to find you because the signals in the wastes were changing. I thought I was ahead of the storm.
Rook, something is wrong. I'm trying to find the source of the override, but it's encrypted behind a subject protocol. I can't see the name, but whoever is running this has higher clearance than the master.
You show up, and 10 minutes later, the town is being dismantled by a faction we haven't seen in years. That's a hell of a coincidence, Cade.
You think I want this? Look at them. The Pearl Bandits aren't raiding us. They're formatting the sector. They don't care about the Red Bandits or Blade Rider's little war. The Reds were just the noise, the chaos that drew the system's attention. Now the cleanup crew is here.
So you're saying the Reds were just a distraction? That we were looking at the wrong map the whole time?
We're all looking at the wrong map, Keel. The Pearl Bandits don't take orders from people. They follow the shadow path. And right now, that path is burning a hole straight through Muntown.
If you didn't bring them, then why are they standing still? Why aren't they killing us?
Maybe they aren't done identifying the target yet.
This is insane. We've got a high-tier strike team breaching the north sector with pulse blades, and we're just standing around the coffee table? Rook, tell me you see this. This guy shows up and suddenly the Red Bandits are replaced by ghosts.
The Red Bandits were never the threat, Kale. They were just the smoke. You were so busy looking at the fire that you didn't notice someone was rewriting the map underneath your feet.
Don't talk to me about maps. You've been gone for years, and now you walk in here like you own the place? Rook, I'm telling you, he's a beacon. The Pearl Bandits aren't attacking the town. They're following him.
Guys, stop. Kale, he might be right. I'm looking at the sector logs. The Pearl Bandits didn't break the shields. They used an override code that was issued from within this grid.
Exactly. And if you want to know why, you need to look at what I found. Rook, you remember the shadow path from the academy? The one the instructors told us was just a glitch in the simulation?
They said it was corrupted data, a failure in the augmentation logs.
It wasn't a failure. It was the blueprint for Subject 04. I need to show you why you're the final product, Rook, and why the first 3 candidates are buried in the floorboards of the academy.
Don't touch it. I don't trust a single word out of your mouth. You keep talking about subjects like we're property.
Kale, move.
You're seriously going to listen to this? He's talking about you like you're a machine, Rook.
I know exactly what he's talking about. I'm the only one who survived the bonding without losing my mind. If he has the logs, I'm seeing them. Show us. But if this is a signal to bring those bandits to this front door, Kale won't have to draw his steel. I'll crush that terminal, and you, before the screen even flashes.
Fair enough. You always were the most stable of the batch. Look at the coordinates. Overclock.
Wait, that's not a camp. It's a massive underground bunker, buried deep in the deadwood.
You've got to be kidding me. We've passed that spot 1,000 times. There's nothing there but ash.
That's because the door only opens for one thing. It's not looking for a passcode, it's looking for the unique energy signature of the fourth candidate. The Pearl Bandits aren't here for the village, Rook. They're here to capture the Architect's prize and drag you into that bunker to finish what the Academy started.
I hate this. I'd rather have 100 red bandits screaming in my face than this silence. It feels like the trees are recording our heartbeats.
They probably are. This forest was the original perimeter for the testing grounds. Every iron oak here is laced with copper wire roots to monitor the subject's stress levels.
You know an awful lot about testing grounds for a guy who's been missing, Cade.
I told you, I've been tracking the shadow path. I've seen the records of what they did here.
No, you've been leading us. Every turn we take, we get deeper into the Vexel's throat. Who are you really working for? Is it the Pearl Bandits? Are you just the lure to get Subject 04 back to his creators?
KL, we don't have time for your parent.
It's not paranoia when you're talking about stress levels and monitoring like we're lab rats. Tell the truth. Are you bringing him back to be refused? Is that what this is?
KEL, enough. We are being hunted by a ghost army, and you're trying to kill the only map we have?
He's playing us, Rook. He doesn't see you as a person, he sees you as 4404. He's just another architect in training.
I see a town on fire. I see our people dying, and I see you wasting time on a grudge while the optimization is at our backs. If you draw your steel on a teammate again, Kale, I won't just stop you. I'll break the blade. Do you understand? I am more than a number, and you are acting like a child. Cade, get up. Open the door, now.
Right. The signature fissure. It's calibrated specifically for your biorhythm, Rook.
Changed. It's not a broadcast anymore. It's a welcome message specifically for your ID.
Then let's not keep the past waiting. Move.
My gear is haywire. The lead lining in these walls is ancient. It's dampening every signal I've got. We're deep in the old world layers now.
The stairs lead to the primary vaults. It's the basement, the foundation of the entire military sector before the academy was even a thought. You okay up there, Kale? You haven't said a word since the ridge.
Just watching the back of your head, Cade. Making sure you don't decide to forget that we're supposed to be allies.
Focus on the surroundings, Kale. We don't know who or what the Academy left behind to guard this level.
Oh, I'm focused, Rook. I'm focused on the fact that we're walking into a tomb based on the word of a guy who's been a ghost for years. I'm just following orders, right? That's what we subjects are for.
I'm not giving orders. I'm trying to find out why the Pearl Bandits are hunting us.
Are you? Because it feels like you're just following his lead. You're so desperate to find out why they labeled you 04 that you're willing to let a stranger pull your leash right back into the kennel.
We're here. This is the entry to the deep archive.
This is it. This is where they fuse the plates to my spine.
Touching. You found your cradle. Now, are we going to find a way to save the town, or are we just here so you can have a moment with the people who broke you? Because the longer we stay in this basement, the more I feel like we're just waiting for the door to lock from the outside.
We're here to get the data, Kale. Whether you help us find it or just stand there and rot is up to you.
I'll stay by the door. Someone has to make sure we actually have an exit when the architect decides he's seen enough.
Fine. Overclock. Get the analog readers ready. It's time to see the blueprint they used to build Subject 04.
Look at this place. It's a graveyard of information. Everything here is physical. Paper, reels, hard disks. No wonder Vexel couldn't find it. You can't hack a piece of paper.
Move faster. This place feels like a tomb that hasn't realized it's dead yet. Every second we spend down here is a second the Pearl Bandits get closer to the entrance.
Jackpot.
Did you find it?
I found some of it.
Only some?
I found the logs on the shadow path and the initial bonding notes for the Subject 04 project. It confirms what I thought. The Pearl Bandits are after your specific signature to bridge the gap between their optimization and the old world hardware.
So we have what we need. Let's get out of here.
It's not that simple. There's a gap in the records. The file mentions a final protocol, the very thing that connects the shadow path to your suit's full power, but the pages are gone. It looks like someone purged the most important part of your history before we even got here.
Purged? By who?
Probably the architect. He didn't want the full blueprint in one place. We have the location of the shadow, but without that missing data, we're walking in blind.
You're telling me we came all this way for half an answer?
Half an answer is better than the lies we had before. We moved to the core. Maybe the missing pieces are waiting there.
Or maybe you're just not looking hard enough, Cade.
They're here. Kale, guard the hall. We're done playing librarian.
Ambush.
They shouldn't have been able to track the biometric signature this fast.
Their eyes. Did you see them? They looked like people we knew, but there was nobody home.
Because there isn't. They aren't machines, Overclock. I felt the resistance when my blade bit in. That was flesh. They're just empty.
They're the optimized. The architect didn't replace their hearts with gears, he just wiped the slate clean. They're still human, just without the noise of a soul.
Noise? Is that what we are to you? Just a bunch of static that needs to be dialed out? Is that why you're so obsessed with Subject 04? Because he's the only one who didn't let you mute him?
Enough, KO.
You're awfully twitchy, Cade. You keep touching your coat like there's a heart beating in there. You said the file was incomplete, but you look like a man who just won the lottery.
I'm making sure the maps are dry. If the coolant from that server leak ruined the ink, we're wandering into the shadow path with nothing but a prayer.
The Pearl Bandits weren't fighting to kill. They were aiming for my joints. They want the suit, and the man inside it intact.
Because you're the blueprint, Rook, you're the fourth candidate. The only one who survived the fusion with your mind, still tethered to your body. To the architect, you're the prize that got away.
The prize. See? Even now, he talks about you like an object. We're in a basement, Rook, hidden under a dead forest, being hunted by people who used to be like us. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about the architect?
It tells me that the past is trying to bury us.
We have to go up there? Rook weighs a ton. If the ladder gives.
It's iron oak, reinforced for the subject program. It'll hold, but we have to move. If they catch us in this crawl space, there's no room for you to swing that sword, KO.
Then move. But I'm right behind you, Cade. If I see a blue light at the top of that hole, I'm not asking questions.
Save the talk for the surface. We have a world to fix.
We're out. Tell me we're actually out.
Keep your voice down. We're still in their backyard.
Something isn't right. They stopped at the ladder. They had us cornered, and they just let us go.
Maybe they can't leave the...
What the? I pulled the batteries out of this earlier?
Smash it.
Wait.
Rook? Is that you, baby? It's so cold. We've been waiting in the basement for so long.
Ma?
Rook, don't. That's a trick. Vexel is messing with your head.
Kale, why did you leave us in the ash? We're part of the path now. We're the copper in the trees. We're the pulse in the dirt.
The harvest is complete. You are all cattle walking into the slaughter. You think you escaped the basement? You only entered the mouth.
It's not the architect, it's the source.
Die as fuel. Die as data. Subject 04 is mine. You all will die in the dark.
They're using the dead. The radio. They're using the memories of the town to fuel the grid.
Subject 04, the circle is incomplete. Come home.
Get back! Run!
The blueprints. They're not for rebuilding the world. THYRE for feeding it.
No one leaves the fractured realm.